Welcome back, Soul Fam, to video 2 of Ancestral Wisdom, Journey Through the Hoodoo Tarot. And where we left off, we were tapping into the energy of this card here, which is the Daughter of Baskets in the Hoodoo Tarot, which in the traditional tarot represents the Knight of Cups. And in this card here is a depiction of Tituba, who was the first woman who was accused of practicing witchcraft in Salem, Massachusetts, 1692. But before we dive in, if you haven't already followed me, go ahead and like, comment, and follow for more videos like this. So here's a fun fact. There are no known photos or portraits of Tituba, the first woman accused of practicing witchcraft. However, in the 19th century, various illustrations and artistic interpretations were used to describe Tituba based on historical accounts and imagination. And one of those notable images is this picture here. This is called Tituba and the Children. And this was a picture that was illustrated portraying Tituba performing sorcery for two young girls in the household of her slave owner, Samuel Parrish. Now, the story goes that Tituba existed in the 1600s, that was kidnapped and brought back from a plantation in Barbados. Some say she was a Native American woman with Arawak heritage. Some say she was a woman that practiced magic from the Caribbean islands. And then some stories depict her as being indigenous to South America. Now let's get back to the Salem witch trials. Now, when two little Caucasian girls that Tituba cared for fell ill, they blamed her for all of it, calling her a witch. Now, in order for Tituba to survive, she confessed to practicing witchcraft. But really, Tituba was forced to confess by her slave owner, which is Samuel Parrish right here. He forced her to give a false confession about serving the devil and practicing magic. What a jerk. Tituba's testimony is what started the Salem witch trials. It was documented that Tituba's testimony was the longest testimony during this time. But I believe it was a tactic that she used to save her some time to avoid being prosecuted and executed for practicing witchcraft. But Tituba was smart. She's like, oh no, you're not going to take me down for all of this. While on trial, Tituba accused two white women, Sarah Good and Sarah Osmond, of practicing witchcraft as well. She was ultimately detained and sent to Boston, where she spent about a year in prison. She could have been released, but I was going to call him a douchebag, but this guy right here, her slave owner, Samuel Parrish, and his wife refused to pay her bond. Because not only was Samuel her slave owner, but he was also the minister of Salem Village. So like I mentioned before, she spent about a year in prison, and once released, she ran with her husband, never to be seen again. The grand jury dismissed the case in May 1693, and nobody knows what happened to her. However, the biggest issue is not her practicing witchcraft, magic, or ATR, which is African tradition religion, but the fact that she was an Afro-Indigenous woman in a white world. So was she being prosecuted for practicing witchcraft, or for being black, as they would call it? But no one will ever know. Now, if you have this deck here, the Hoodoo Tarot, and there is a card that you would like me to make a video on, go ahead and leave that comment right over there. And if you're not already following me, go ahead and like, comment, and follow for more videos like this.